Ty, it's so good to be with you today. And our weekly webinar for our coachcon anticipation is around the corner, guys. We are so thrilled. coachcon is right here. And for many of you who are reaching out and connecting with us on LinkedIn and our various platforms, thank you. We're answering questions. You guys are getting registered. And Ty, I mean, can you just feel the energy around this coachcon launch?
Yeah, absolutely. We are somebody told me we are like just about 40 days out. You know, I think now, yeah, it's the 16th, 17th, so we're like 30 days out now. So it's like, yeah, it'll be here before you know it. So, you know, for folks who are still thinking about it, who haven't registered, you're going to get a couple more resources. Like Shah said, every Monday we do these LinkedIn Lives. And now this month, we have all of our speakers coming on. So you get to meet them every Monday, the people who are going to be inspiring you for those 2 days. And then we have our workshops like this that we do every other week. And this is going to be really content substantive for you. And pretty soon you'll get another free resource from us as we market more and more and more to you, so you're ready for the coachcon experience.
Man, so excited. And guys, today is, a couple of things that we wanted to highlight, because the coaches that are coming to speak to us, they're teaching you things, and we're just giving you what I consider like a sneak peek as we do these webinars, because Ty and I feel like many of you are at different stages of your coaching business. And so our job is to help you get where you need to go. But remember, there's steps in between every transition in your business. And Ty, you and I have talked about this many, many times on lives, as well as in our Facebook groups. But a lot of business owners who start a coaching business, they're just starting out, right? It's a side hustle. Sometimes they kind of by default fall into it. But how do you feel has been more successful for you in your business as you've grown it? Has speaking been one of those anchors?
100%. You know, Shar, I've hosted over 230 events in my career, and I've spoken at equally more than that. And the reality is that it is the thing that not only builds your brand, it gives people that relationship, that start of a relationship with you. It connects you to your message. It gives people a chance to understand your methodology. Speaking is a way for you to advertise yourself, advertise your program, advertise your unique value proposition without selling to anybody. It's about storytelling. It's about sharing who you are. It's about showing them an example of your confidence, your cadence, your professionalism, your content, your experience. And so speaking is one of the most amazing ways you can, grow your audience, attract clients, generate that first step in relationship building with your audience.
It's true, guys. And why this matters to you? It should matter to you, because for many of us, speaking is a skill. I know that for many of the CEO clients that I have, they never thought of themselves as a speaker. Ty, I'm sure the clients that you coach, were never on that center stage, thinking, hey, I'm going to be a speaker one day. But it shows the recent data from HubSpot, and many of you guys use HubSpot as your CRM, 65% of small business owners find it very hard to find clients. And speaking is the solution to this, guys.
It is. And a lot of people have this block and this story that they tell themselves, like, I'm not a good speaker. I don't like public speaking. I'm really bad at it. But it has never been easier than now to actually be. There's so much tools, resources, and technology that you can actually use if you really want to get into speaking. When I started speaking, I had to hire a speaking coach. And she came and she spent time with us, and we trained for 5 days, and I delivered my first event, and it was great. It was fantastic. And the alternative to that was like going to a Toastmasters and working in small peer groups in your community and learning how to speak that way. But now there's so many resources. You can YouTube how to become a speaker. You can practice on your telephone or your iPhone, exactly record yourself and then pick up your own errors and then fix them. Now there are these AI glasses. I saw one yesterday, a friend of mine, AI glasses where the teleprompter is in the glasses. So you're watching and you're reading from a teleprompter that's on your face as you speak. So there's so many more tools today to help you overcome that mindset of I'm a bad speaker or I don't like speaking, to really get to that point where speaking will bring you a new audience. Speaking will grow your audience, and speaking will help you with the relationship building of that audience.
So the 3 secrets, guys, that we're going to share, we want you to really understand that you might be doing some of these things already. Some of you might be doing one of the 3, or maybe some of you are not doing any of them at all. What we want to do is really enhance whatever strategy you're currently doing to really help you find more customers. And so as we talk about these things, we're going to share our client case studies, experience from our own selves, as well as how would you apply this in your coaching business? Because for many of you, Sometimes you start off working full time, and then here you are coming into an entrepreneurship role. And so 2 different mindsets, 2 different skill sets. And of course, Ty, you and I have done this many times. It's second nature to us, but for many people, being an entrepreneur is a whole nother game.
Absolutely, absolutely, and again, looking at speaking as a tool, as a resource, as your way to the market. Every time you get a speaking opportunity, every time you go to a networking event or join a nonprofit board or support yourself in any way whatsoever at the PTA club, film yourself and add that content. Like you, in parallel to speaking, one should also develop a YouTube channel where you can post all of the things you spoke on, and that can be your proof to the world that you're a speaker, you're a developed speaker, you know what you're doing, your content is great. And so when you want to look for speaking gigs or when you want to be on podcasts, you just share that link and show the world, hey, this is what I've done. Even if it was a free thing, it's what I've done and how I speak. Now, as Charlotte said, as Char said, these are the 3 tips to becoming a niche authority in the speaking world. And it starts off with what we've always said. We've always been telling. We started these podcasts. We told you over and over again, define your client. You have to know who you want to work with, both because you're spending time with them, but also how do they connect to your story? How do they connect to your methodology? How do they connect to the transformation you want to offer? So making sure you have your very, very clear ideal client. This also helps in the speaking world. And when I say speaking, I don't just mean on a stage, I mean on podcasts. This helps because once you've defined your ideal client, you can identify where those people are found. What podcasts do they listen to? And so how do you meet them where they are because of the podcast and the interest? So as you start signing up to speak on podcasts, you know exactly which podcasts to sign up for because that's where your audience is. Number 2, crafting your unique value proposition. As we know, there are hundreds of you think that there are a lot of coaches. Think about people who are not even coaches, but do speaking. Right? There's probably double the amount of speakers that there are coaches. And so you want to make sure that your message and what you deliver is so powerful, so strong. It's going to be what we call a feed injection. It's going to be the reason people stop scrolling. It's going to be the reason they put the fork down or their pen down. It's going to be the reason that they tune in to pay you the additional 8 seconds that they paid you when they were scrolling through, right? So what is your unique value proposition and how do you effectively articulate this? I do a session or a class where I teach people how to come up with such a strong value proposition that it puts people, it disarms them so that they're like, okay, tell me more. And you want to make sure that you're delivering that. And then the last piece would be showcasing social proof, right? And social proof is somebody went through your course, somebody did your program, somebody got a result, a transformation. They may not have gone through your course, but they sat on a webinar with you. You gave them one nugget of advice that helped them move the dial. Even that is enough for them to say, wow, Char's a great coach. I love what she's about. She's a great speaker. Like that's the person who I'm really going to lean into.
Well, and guys, we want you to know that if you don't know your target, you're not going to know how to measure your success. You might be failing, but you're doing all this activity, but you're still failing. Right? Or you could be getting all the right targets and then you're being able to understand like maybe why they're not closing, maybe what they need to hear. I have a client right now where we made a tweak to their target and guess what happened? They got 12 to 15 more appointments a month because the target was adjusted. So that increased their probability and now their conversions are happening because now they're waiting a 30-day cycle instead of 90 days. So when you know your niche and you know who your target is, you're able to measure and only what you can measure can be improved. This is really hard because a lot of people just do it for the feel goods, right, Ty? And they're like, hey, I'm doing it. And I'm like, but you're still digging the wrong hole. It doesn't matter. All that activity doesn't equate to what you really want, success. And success, yes, guys, I know this is terrible. I had one of my clients, he got really mad at me. And I was like, okay, what's wrong with you? He said, it's not about the money. I said, hey, if you're going to spend your time away from your family and you're trying to move into a career out of, your job and move into an entrepreneur job of, being a coach, I have to help you measure these things or it's not going to matter at the end of the day. So yes, it is about the money because that result will tell you if this is going to be worth your time. And Ty, a lot of people struggle with this when they're being an entrepreneur.
Yeah, absolutely. People look for vanity metrics to say, okay, I did that thing really good, but you really want to care about the things that are not going well, but the metrics that are on the wrong side of, because that's how you fix it. And money as well is a metric.
Yes, it is. It's a part of the metrics, guys. That piece, and this goes right into, content, right? When you ask the person, how did you hear about me? Did you see me on a live? Did you see me in a Facebook group? Hey, did you come to a workshop? That tells you what's working so that you can spend the time and effort into that. Now, move number 2, magnetic content engine. And I want to say this because AI has been now more than ever easily, accessible to many of you who are trying to figure out what your content is. But Ty, a lot of times, even though you have content, Ty, do you feel like a lot of people need to map this out, like have a blueprint?
Absolutely. Here's the thing, like content for the sake of content is irrelevant, right? And this is why a lot of people, there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it, right? A lot of people use content as a marketing strategy, but what they do is they do a live, or they do some sort of program or giveaway, and they give you surface level stuff. They give you a lot of fluff, and the idea is that they want you to buy into the fluff so you can get the real stuff. But the reality is that if you give value, if you give content that's meaningful, that's valuable, that's transformational to your audience for free, it's not so much about the content, because content's available everywhere. You can AI the answer, you can Google the answer. The content is available everywhere. What your content and you delivering it in an authentic way does, and a fully coordinated and mapped out way does, is it shows people that you have a methodology. You have the ability to hold their hand and be their champion. They're buying you. They're not buying the content. They're buying your experience, your academic knowledge, your past, your ability to hold their hand and go through the process with them and give them the answers that they need when they need it, even the ones they don't know, and then help them resolve and come out on the other end. So you are and this is where people get lost. People aren't buying your content, they're buying you. But you have to make sure that the content makes sense, that it's strategically built out, that it takes them from a little to a lot, that it gives them the transformation that they're looking for. That's your skill, not, again, the actual content itself.
Right. And that's why, guys, you might sit there and belabor this and just, spend so much time versus like it's progress. Remember, I don't want you to start and stop, because that's where failure happens. But I want you to be consistent, because move number 3 is going to be critical in regards to your speaking, what you're doing for your events, how you make decisions, because you only have so much time. And I always use this example, Ty. Even the great Elon Musk, even the great, successful people you see online, they have 24 hours. No one has different amount of time. It's how they use that time in making these strategic moves.
Correct. It's all about managing your time. It's all about planning correctly, delivering the most impact. People want efficiency, and we live in such an instant gratification world today. I don't care. You can criticize it all you want. That's where we are. And people just have a short window to process a lot of stuff and make some decisions. And so you have to make sure that you're constantly rehearsing, practicing, and making sure your message is concise and effective enough, but giving the right information to make the decision happen, and testing and validating that again, and testing and validating that again, and doing it over and over and over. And so you have to make sure that you're putting in the time to work on the business, on your speech, on your delivery, on your messaging, to be effective in converting that into clients or customers for your business.
Exactly. And, part of this, guys, doesn't have to be, buying a conglomerate, big CRM. You don't have to buy these big widgets or like Salesforce. That's not what we're asking you to do. What we want you to do is every single decision and move you're making, hopefully you're going to use today's webinar to make some adjustments, or maybe start, is you got to start somewhere. And so starting today, right, Ty, in their mind, in our mind, is better than thinking, you got to get this right, Don't worry about what's right and wrong. You just got to start.
Yep. Progress over perfection. Get out of the gate. Again, I look back at the videos that I did back in 2014, 2015, and they were not good. But I could look back on them, and they did the job that they did at the time. And now anybody who looks at that video can say, okay, that's where he started and this is where he ended. So clearly he's had a lot of practice and evolution and experience and work done in the meantime.
Well, and guys, we're going to share a couple of stories now, because I think a lot of people, worry about, this imposter syndrome sometimes plays. Sometimes you're comparing yourselves to people you see ads from. They all started somewhere, but they started at least in a place where they had what I consider better information and they could make better decisions. So Ty, again, I'm sure your clients are succeeding because you're giving them the shortcuts, right? You're telling them where things are and how to do things better.
So perhaps the biggest thing, and something that we tell people, but we also live, Shar, is that message of consistency and regularity, right? We have to do a LinkedIn Live every single Monday that we said we were doing a LinkedIn Live. We've managed to do a workshop every other week that we said we're doing a workshop. And the reality is that that has educated people. And now people can look forward to and say to us, okay, I know who they are. I know what they're about. I've heard this coachcon thing over and over again. I'm interested or I'm intrigued. And that's the thing. It's like, you don't have to be good. You don't have to be ready. You don't have to be in your office. You don't have to have a nice suit on. You don't have to have your face made up. You just have to be consistent and deliver what you say you're going to deliver to the audience on a regular basis so that they get to know you. They get to see you. You know, me showing up in a sweater today is not me trying to get dolled up and perfect for you to be on camera. It's me wanting to give you the message I want to give you, regardless of what I look like, regardless of where I'm sitting, regardless of where I am, but more importantly, giving you the promise and fulfilling what I said I would. And that's the authenticity quotient here in this process. So, you know, when you think of something like an authority accelerator, people in today's world, at least in the US society, and they may be different in other parts of the world, but at least in our society, people want to see you at your, I don't want to say at your worst, but at your naturalist, right? They want to see you, that they want to build a relationship with you. And in the US, we don't want perfection, because then we're skeptical and cynical of that perception. Is that true, or is that just what you're trying to sell me? We're very attuned to having been sold. How many of you get LinkedIn messages every day, or pitches, or phone or messages on your phone saying, I can get you funding, or I can get you a virtual assistant, or like everybody's marketing and selling to you every day, all day, in every channel that they could. And you want really somebody who's true and honest and not perfected or polished or giving you an AI script, but somebody who you can identify with, somebody who you could connect with, that's real. And that's what this is about. That's delivering your message any day, every day, anytime, where you are, the best you can, and making sure that you're connecting with the people, connecting with your audience.
And guys, you know, as you look at your business, we just want you to be able to start where you are. So pick one of our strategies, start today where you are, reach out on LinkedIn, connect with us, ask us some hard questions. We're not here to judge. We are past that phase in our business, because now we want to grow, we want to be successful. And that's what we're here to help you with. So, you know, Ty, when I think about this, you know, there's going to be a couple of slides, guys, that we're going to share, just kind of some takeaways as you're looking at your business, and of course, what that funnel looks like. And this is super simple, but this is the reason why, Ty, we share this, right? Because simple doesn't always mean you're going to get it done. You
Correct.
overcomplicate it, guys. And we don't understand why, because we're trying to give you what we consider the roadmap to success: faster, smarter, strategic.
Yeah, it can be super easy, super easy. You go from attract to nurture to convert. Know, like, trust, right? So know your audience. You want your audience to like you, because that's how they start the buying cycle. So that's the attraction part, right? So make sure your content is focused, make sure your materials are concise, make sure your messaging is there, make sure you're delivering with confidence and poise. So attract, and then nurture. Once you have an audience, then you feed them, you give them value, you give them content, you regularly show up for them, and you make sure that what you're giving them is transformative in their life, and invites them to join you, invites them to participate with you, because they want to spend more time with you. They want your custom knowledge, not your generic knowledge that you're giving to the world. And then that's how you convert. For then you make the offer, you make the ask. A lot of people put their stuff out and they just think, oh, somebody's going to like it, they're going to buy it. You have to make the ask. You have to put the actual effort into saying, hey, I have this offer. Are you interested? Would you like to know more? Would you want to hop on a call? So you have to make the ask and make that conversion.
Exactly. And guys, you know, when you're thinking about your strategy, what we want you to do is use a couple of these follow-up techniques, because a lot of people will overcomplicate it. Some of them don't follow up. I mean, I can't believe it, Ty, how many people go through the risk of losing a deal because they didn't want to call, or they didn't want to ask for the close, or they didn't want to, you know, seem pushy. And I'm thinking, how do you think anything gets done? You got to ask for the deal. You got to ask for the close.
People get tied up and they think, oh, I don't like to sell. I'm not a seller. I don't want to sell. I'm not a salesperson. It's not about selling. You know, it's about giving people an opportunity to improve their lives. It's about telling the story that helps somebody else. It's about giving people access to your wisdom, your knowledge, your brilliance. By you not offering people the chance to work with you, by you not actually going out there and saying to folks, I can help you because I did it before, or I've worked with clients that have done it before, or I have a unique way to do this that you don't know about, I can help you. You are taking away their chance at success. You are literally saying to them, even though I can help you, I'm not going to tell you I can help you, and I'm not going to invite you to work with me because I'm afraid of selling. I call that selling, and so I don't want to do it. And as a result, even though I can get you to your goal faster and make you, somebody who is more of an authority in your industry, I'm not going to do it because I'm afraid of selling. Like,
Right.
think about that, reconcile it and reposition it. It's really about, you're not selling, you're inviting somebody to improve their life because you have a unique way to do it, and that unique way can benefit them.
Right. And guys, when you think about your strategy today, I want you to see if you're doing some of these things to repel the opportunity, right? Are you inconsistent? Are you cut and pasting from AI and not really thinking about your content? And are you definitely putting what I consider the pressure on? Because that repels opportunity.
Everything that I just talked about. What did we talk about? We said show up on camera regularly, be regular and consistent. We talk about that custom approach that lets people know why they want to work with you. What is your USP? Why are you different? And then we talked about not selling, but inviting people. You're using a story and inviting people to come work with you because you have the unique way to help them. Everything that I just said.
But guys, remember, if you're not doing it, don't worry. But if you are doing it and need to make changes, we're inviting you to make the changes, because here's a couple of things that you could do immediately in your business, right? And so as we close, we just want you to know that we've been there. Ty had success, but also he's had failure. Both of us have experienced that. And that's the reason why we can speak from a place that says, we get it. We know what you're struggling with. We understand, but we're not going to allow you to stay stuck there.
Yeah, we're going to help you out. I mean, and the way that we're going to help you out is we're doing these lives, but more importantly, we're offering you a chance to join us at a 2-day experience, coachcon. It is the culmination of all of this material that we've been putting out, and we will continue to put out over the next months to come. But what we want to do is we want to invite you to a 2-day virtual conference that happens online, where we are going to share some phenomenal speakers who have gone through everything that we've gone through, who can show you how to do these things, who can give you tactical and substantive approaches to your business to help you grow and scale to your 6, 7, 8, 9 figures, wherever you want to go. But more importantly, we're gonna have real life transformations happening on the spot. Why? Because after every coaching session, you have a private breakout room, either with a coach or with your clients, if you are bringing them, so that you can take that information, digest it, create action items, and then move into your own coaching experience, move into the results you want your clients to achieve. And then we do that every day, 3 times a day. And then we offer you other tools and resources that you can use to enhance, again, your client's business or your own business. So join us at coachcon September 16th and 17th. We're giving away even more content in the coming weeks. Just look out for more of that information, and come back here and see us on Mondays. Every Monday at 11 o'clock or every other Thursday. CoachCon's website is coachcon.global, so www.coachcon.global. Check it out, see if it's for you, and we'd love to see you back here again 2 weeks from now, or back on Monday.
Wow, guys, thank you so much again, Ty, for your time and pouring into our community, pouring into future coaches. And for many of you, sometimes you just need someone else who's not married to the problem every day to take a look at what's going on. And we're happy to do that for you as well. Thanks so much, Ty.
Thanks, Shar.